4 times its original budget and almost 2 years late, Federation Square has certainly had its share of detractors.
I think initially the reaction was one of horror.
Looks like Lego blocks.
I think it's a monstrosity.
I remember Barry Humphries saying it was like a disease in Melbourne.
Terrible. I would scrap it.
A lot of people said it was just a mess. When we get an expression of architecture that's completely new, the reaction takes some time to filter down, and now there's almost more pride than dislike.
This is President Bush's war. This is John Howard's war. But this is not Australia's war.
For the pain, suffering and hurt of these stolen generations, their descendants and for their families left behind, we say sorry.
They've amassed an incredible 220,000 poppies.
Security was simply overpowered and outnumbered as the group of young fans took over.
The architecture is successful in a lot of ways. It's like you can see how active it is right now. Like people come here to sit, to have their lunch. People know where it is, people meet here. But connection to the Birrarung and the Yarra is definitely an opportunity that was missed. It's quite a hard material palette. There's not enough landscaping. I would incorporate softer edges.
The state government is controversially planning to knock down part of Federation Square to make way for an Apple retail store.
What was proposed for it was a great big glass cube, and I don't think this place can take too many different versions of architectural expression. I think it's busy enough as it is. There was huge opposition and were very well organised.
We feel that an Apple store simply does not belong in our public space.
And they won.
Federation Square is officially heritage listed.
The way the square is organised foregrounds the commercial spaces, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like you think of the piazzas in Italy and they're aligned with cafes, and that's great. Like that's part of what civic life is an economic life. But maybe there should be spaces that are more financially accessible. I also think that the elements of the arts precinct that exist here are kind of forgotten about, and they're hard to find, and we have a bit of a cultural aversion to engaging with the arts, I think, in Australia, and I think having the visual connection with Ian Potter and with ACME more present, I think could have helped to break down the barrier that already exists.
So this is the site that's often talked about as being Federation Square East, and it goes down from here to the roadway. To deal with building over these areas, we need to build over the railway lines, but we managed to do it where Federation Square is, so I can't see that there's any difficulty in doing it here. If it can be done, I think it'll be done within the next 20-25 years.
Yeah, it's been really interesting kind of speaking with people and asking people their opinions on the square. People have a lot to say about it, and I think that's one thing that is really fantastic about it, is that it instigates conversation, and people might not like the architecture, but they're challenged by it, and there's a lot of feeling in it, and I think that's in part what civic architecture should do for us as a society, is like challenge us to think and to feel and to connect as well through that feeling.